Real quick, I just wanted to share with you that From Scratch is an independent podcast that is not backed by any investors. If you do enjoy these types of inspirational stories and would like to support the podcast, I will leave a donation link somewhere above or below this video where you can make your donations discreetly and safely. If, on the other hand, you have a business and would like to advertise during one of the episodes, I have 3 types of sponsorship packages that basically fit any type of budget for your business. Any financial contribution is highly appreciated, and I cannot thank you enough for your continued support. But you don't have to donate in order to support the podcast. All you have to do is just simply subscribe and share it with your community so that these meaningful stories will reach a wider audience. Thank you for listening. Now let's go back to the episode. Welcome to From Scratch, the show where our guests share their journeys of success and failures. My name is Gjoko. I'll be your host, and today with me I have Ashley. Now, if these stories are something that inspire you, make sure that you hit the subscribe and share button so that you can share them with somebody to inspire their day as well. Ashley, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
How are you?
Good. And I am honored to be here. I think it's absolutely incredible what you're doing for our community, especially here in Plainfield, is allowing local business owners to share their story.
It's a way for the community to connect more with the community, so to say. People want to do business with you, not because of your services, not because of your product, but because of you as a person. So they connect with you.
When I hear someone's story and I resonate with that, it's like those are kind of people too that I want to do business with because there's a whole heart behind a product or a service. And I think what I do, we're just not another spa. There's like a whole heart and a whole meaning behind that. And I think if people understood that, it would really differentiate us from other places.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can you briefly tell me what your business is about in 1 or 2 sentences?
I am a almost 14-year licensed esthetician. I started off as a solo practitioner, and now I have a storefront in downtown Plainfield. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have to count now. There's 5 estheticians.
Okay.
I have a massage therapist, and I have a coordinator. And we specialize in facials, brows, massages, and intimate waxing like Brazilian.
Well, good for you.
Thank
That is
you.
awesome. And I'm sure the road to get to that point was a bumpy one.
I honestly think that I am like destined for what I'm doing.
Good.
Having the business, there are certain things that fell into place and presented themselves to me in the most divine times that have made parts of it very easy that should have been difficult, that lead me to believe like I'm where I'm supposed to be, and these are the people I'm supposed to be with, and these are the people I'm supposed to be helping.
How was life back, when you were young with your family, high school days? How was life for young Ashley?
I was very shy
Okay.
and very reserved.
Okay.
One reason why I believe I'm supposed to be doing what I'm doing is I've had 3 women who've been very influential, and I've had amazing experiences and guidances from women in particular.
Okay.
I've never had good relationships with men, and as a child, that would start with a father. And my parents' marriage wasn't healthy. And as a kid, I think being in that environment, I was very timid and very scared. I would go to my friend's house, and if their dad walked in the house, I remember hiding underneath the bed.
Oh, wow.
And I was just I think because I grew up in that environment, I was very shy and reserved. I never had a large group of friends. I would just have, honestly, one friend at a time. And it stayed that way through elementary school, junior high, and high school. I don't think I really came out of my shell until I got into the industry that I was in, and I was surrounded by like-minded people. And in my industry, we have to be very social. And because I was so shy and reserved, like that was something I had to break through and be comfortable like connecting with people. So we would ride our bikes around town, we'd hang out at the mall, like But I was that one person who had that one friend. I never had a big group of friends. I never went to house parties, always been a homebody. And so I would say that was what my childhood is like.
Who were the three women?
My mom,
Okay.
my aunt, and my grandmother.
How did they influence your path?
All at very different times. If anyone remembers, there was a store called Venture, and my dad hurt his back, and he was like disabled. So he stayed home all the time, and my mom was the breadwinner. She had me in her early 20s. She never finished college, but she worked every odd and end job, whether that was house cleaning, selling candles. Like, she worked
Wow.
for a bus company. She hustled. Like, my mom was a hustler. She never cared for herself. It was about her children. Me and my brothers were like the world to her. I was brought over to my grandmother's house a lot, and that my aunt, that's my mom's sister. I'm the oldest, by the way. I'm the firstborn, and I feel like
Okay.
we get different teachings than the other siblings. They taught me a lot of my values and being respectful and manners. They helped me with like my school and like studies. Like, I remember I wanted this pair of boots, and they were like, you have to learn your multiplication tables if you want to get that pair of boots. And so I was there all the time. Mom passed away when I was 25. And it wasn't until I became an adult, like most people, you look back and you're like, holy crap, like, how did my parents do this? And all the hard work they had. And so now that I'm in my 20s and I'm looking back, I'm like, oh my God, at this age, my mom worked all these jobs. She had 3 kids. Like, how the heck did she do this? And she taught me what hard work and determination was, and how, when your back is pushed up against the wall, how to respond. My aunt now is like a mother to me. She always has been. When my mom was so busy working and she couldn't be that mom that was present in the household, that has been my aunt. You know, it's my grandma too, like showing me manners and values and morals. And it was those 3 women who raised me.
Thinking, like you said, like they were doing all of that plus the kids? Like during a time where no internet,
Yeah.
right? Information wise, you had to work for it. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm going to Google this.
How did they do it?
Exactly. Have you ever, when she was still alive, have you ever had a chance to like ask her that?
Never. It's interesting when you're young, your parents are always mom and dad. And then there's a point where you become an adult and you can have different sets of conversations with them than when you were a child. And I was 25 when she passed, so it wasn't till I think you're mid to late 30s. I mean, I think you do, at least for me, a lot of self-reflection. And there are like a lot of questions that I wish I could ask her, but we never had the conversation.
What did a good day look like with your mom or in childhood or something that stands out that stuck with you?
That's a hard question to answer because my mom was such a hustler and she wasn't really ever home.
Okay.
A lot of my memories were things that, so my mom had me in her early 20s and my aunt was 18 when I was born. So she like jokes that like I was kind of like her child or her baby doll. And so she's the one, like, when you look through, if I brought my photo album and you flipped through all the memories, like, these are things that like my aunt and my grandmother would take me to. And so I think because of the time we're in now that we're recording, like, one thing that's always was current was I used to go to the pumpkin patch and
Okay.
like my aunt would always take me. You would see pictures of me at the beach, like my aunt would take me. It's like the
Interesting.
smell of like coconut sunscreen brings me back to her like slathering that on me at the beach.
I hate to go there, but what did a bad memory look like?
My parents fought a lot. My dad was abusive physically and verbally to my mom and to me and my brothers. To go back to the question you asked, like, one thing I wish I could ask my mom is, why did you stay? You know, I always wondered if she didn't have enough confidence, it was because somebody could just be home with the kids so she could work and know like she didn't have to pay for a sitter. Seeing that relationship, unfortunately in my community, when I would go to my friend's house, their parents also had very similar marriages. So when I grew up as a young woman and started dating, because that was all I knew, That's all I had accepted. And that's what I thought a relationship was till I got in one. And my boyfriend at the time was like, "Why are you yelling at me?" And I'm like, "Am I not supposed to be doing that?" Like, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know what a sit down conversation over
Yeah.
a discussion of something you didn't agree about looked
Yeah.
like.
It's the only thing you know of a relationship.
And like your kids are watching how mom and dad interacts, and that's what again your child will accept in a relationship, and they're going to learn
Mm-hmm.
how to communicate through how their parents are choosing to communicate with each other.
Growing up in such an environment, did you have any dreams, aspirations of what you wanted to become when you grew up?
I did for a while. I wanted to be a pop star.
A pop star.
Yeah, Britney Spears was up and coming and she
Okay.
was so big. And I think, I wish I could be a pop star. The movie 13 Going on 30 came out. And then for a little bit, I thought I wanted to be like a journalist. And then in high school, I actually went to culinary school.
Okay.
So I aspired to be a chef at some point.
Why didn't you pursue singing, dancing, acting, pop star culture?
Well, I still sing and dance at home.
I mean, me too, in the shower, but
That's a good question. I have no idea. I don't know. It just kind of faded away, and then it went to wanting to be a journalist. Maybe it seemed unattainable, right?
okay.
Like unrealistic.
If it's not something that you truly want to do, I feel like that's when we abandon those dreams. Do you think?
Yeah. You know what? Actually, you just reminded me of a time. Maybe this is why. Maybe I've always been an entrepreneur and I have not realized it. I had this friend in elementary school named Becky. And her and I would practice singing and dancing in her bedroom. And when Backstreet Boys were up, we were like, we're going to create a band called the Backstreet Girls. And I remember we
So
took
cool.
like all this craft paper and like we wrote down like to hire us to sing at your event. And I put like, we had house phones at the time. So I put like my house phone
Oh
number.
my, that's hilarious.
And like we rolled it up. And I remember we took a bucket that looked like a Lego. And we put them all in there and we went throughout the community and delivering them in people's houses. And
Wow.
then my mom was like, the police are on the phone for you. And I'm like, the police are on the phone for me? And then I answered the phone and obviously I was in elementary school. I'm like shaking in my boots that the police is on the phone for me. And at the time I didn't understand it, but he said I couldn't be doing that.
Why?
I think looking back at it, like for a kid to pass out their phone number, that was probably
Oh,
unsafe.
okay, yeah, makes sense.
And I think it scared the heebie-jeebies out of me. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna put down my
Yeah.
pop star dream right now.
You did mention earlier that you went to culinary school.
hmm
What made you take that leap of faith and go in that direction?
They put so much pressure on you after high school to do something as a career.
Okay.
And we always change our minds so many times. But I think what has stayed consistent between being a chef and what I do now is like if you eat something really good, you can be in a horrible mood. You could have been crying all day. You could have been angry. You eat something good, it like warms your heart and you feel good. And what I do now, it's the same thing. You can come to me with any emotion into my space and you're going to leave happier. So I think I liked that concept of whatever I was going to do as a career was going to make somebody feel good. And at the time, I wanted to do that through food.
Okay.
And then, don't get me wrong, I loved culinary school. It was a lot of fun. Like, all you're doing every day is in the kitchen. There's different parts of the school. Like, you have a big breakfast class, and then another class would be seafood, and then another class would be like appetizers, grilled. Like, they all had their own
Interesting.
themes. And when we did our finals, it literally was like if you're watching Food Network. So we would all be at our stations and we would have a sheet tray of random stuff. It is something we had cooked in the past few weeks.
Okay.
And we had to create like a 4-course meal. And all of us would present our appetizers at the same time to the chef. We would each present our entree.
Okay.
And he would taste it in front of the class and judge it
Right there in front of everybody.
in front of everybody.
Okay.
And it was honestly it was so much fun. But when I had to do my internship, it was for like 9 or 10 weeks. Growing up, my family always told me like when you say you hate something, they'd be like, "Ooh, hate's a strong word. You don't want to use the word hate." And it wasn't until I went to culinary school and I did this internship and I used the word hate. I'm like, no, like I think this is what the word hate means. I love cooking at home and cooking at school. is different than actually working in a real restaurant. The chef would always say, you have to love cooking to do
Okay.
this
At the school.
at the school. Like,
Okay.
you have to be passionate about it. And at the time, I'm like, yeah, I'm here. I'm passionate about it. But no, like, in the restaurant industry, you are working holidays, you are working nights, you are working weekends. And I wasn't at that point in my life where I was that passionate about that I wanted to give up those experiences with friends and family.
Okay.
And working in the kitchen, people are very rough around the edges. And my personality is not rough around the edges. I had 1 week left of my internship and I wanted to quit.
Oh my
But you
goodness.
had to finish it to graduate. And I was like, I don't even care if I just spent $50K. I don't care if I did all that for nothing. I could not bear
Wow.
going back into that kitchen because of the environment. And
What made it so unbearable though?
first of all, I should say, I actually got an experience to intern into a place that no one else did. I feel
Okay.
like I
That's
always
good.
like strive for like next level. And I was put into a Michelin star restaurant. I reached out and said, could I be there? Where other people were at like banquet halls. And my chef
Interesting.
at school had pulled me aside. I think they wanted to maintain that relationship. And I felt like there was a lot of pressure on me that like I was the example for the school and
Okay.
I was not the good example for the school. You're not having normal food that your mom and dad cooks for you at home. It's very elevated.
Okay.
So one day I go into the kitchen and not everybody is there. It's just the chef's preparing. And he was in the kitchen like stirring this pot over the stove. And I'm like, I just walk in, my little 18-year-old self. I'm like, oh, what are you doing? And, oh, I'm just like making like he's stirring pig's blood.
Okay.
And I never grew up eating pig's blood. When he found out, he was like, you never had pig's blood? And I was like, no. And he like, I tried it. And then there was one time during service, he asked me to go in the fridge and grab the citron.
Okay.
And
I don't even.
we didn't have phones
Okay.
where I could just Google what a citron looked like and pull it out of the fridge.
Right.
So like I'm asking around the kitchen, the other staff, like the cooks, and they're like, I don't know. And I'm like in the refrigerator in my chef outfit, pressured to find a citron that I don't even know what the heck that is. And it's a melon.
A melon.
Yeah. I think it kind of looks like a honeydew or a cantaloupe.
Okay.
And I had no idea. And I'm like, if I don't get out of this refrigerator fast enough with this citron, he's going to kill me.
I thought you were talking some sort of a pot with something in it.
Yeah, see, I had no idea. I'm like, go grab the citron. And I'm like, I should have asked what that was. But I
Right,
feel like
but-
because I didn't grow up around the kind of
Yeah.
food he was serving. Well, I remember going into the bathroom. Honestly, it was
Did you
a
get
very...
yelled at?
It was a very small bathroom, and I went in there and I shut the door and I was just crying. I hated it. Like, even just driving there, you had a pit in your stomach. And I was like, I had one more to go to, and I didn't even want to do it, but I did it. And I remember at the end of the program, and the sous chef signed off. At that moment, whatever I said to him when he was signing my paperwork had indicated that I was not going to pursue this as a career. And he had told me, like, oh, it will start to click for you or you're going to do great. And I'm thinking in my head, like, I'm never working in a kitchen again. And what I would wish is that I started in the kitchen at the beginning of the program, because it's like I spent all this money and all this time to really now work in a fine dining restaurant like I thought I wanted to realize I absolutely hate this.
So at what point did you decide to go into and become an esthetician?
Yeah, so this is where it ties into the diet that I grew up eating.
Okay.
Because my mom worked so hard, my dad, like, it would be a fight if she was like, can you just put the roast in the oven? So we ate a lot of processed foods because my mom didn't have enough time to cook, to clean, to shop, to do all the things with us. And throughout high school, I had bad skin.
Okay.
We went to a dermatologist. I was red, raw, irritated. I spent all my money on what somebody would think was irresponsible. I took my like $400, $500 I got for my graduation, and I booked myself a spa day in the city.
Interesting.
I got the mani, the pedi, the facial,
Princess for a day.
everything. Okay, that's what I did with my graduation money. When I got my first facial, she was telling me, look, if you can come in every 3 weeks and you do this home care regimen, I'm going to clear your skin in 6 months. I'm doing this while I'm in culinary school. I'm getting my facials every 3 weeks with her because she told me she can clear my skin.
Uh-huh.
And at the same divine timing, I am taking a class in culinary school about what happens to our body when we eat food that has artificial flavors, preservatives,
Interesting.
high fructose corn syrup, sprayed with pesticides. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I ate this diet growing up of processed garbage. Like when I got home and I was educated, I looked at the back of every box and everything had like
You don't want to do that.
all of the bad artificial
Yeah.
stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, I think that this is why my skin is so bad.
Yeah.
So when I was done with culinary school, my esthetician at the time, I like picked her brain of where she went to school, and I wish I could tell her like how much of an influence she made because she like literally had no idea. I was like, I ended my culinary program in March. That same year in the fall, I enrolled in aesthetic school, the same exact one that she went to.
Wow.
And the moment I walked into that school, you just feel a gut feeling of like, this is where I'm supposed to be and this is what I meant to do.
Everything led to that moment.
Yeah.
What about scholarship stuff like? Because I mean, school costs money, right? Did you? Was it self-paid or
I paid for everything. Yeah.
out of your pocket?
I still have a student loan.
Wow. Did you ever think of looking out for scholarships, or you didn't know where, didn't know who?
If my younger self was sitting next to me on the couch, I wouldn't look at her and tell her that she was stupid, but I was slow. Like,
Okay.
like there were things that didn't click for me, and it was I don't think the way that our education system is set up is a learning style for everybody, and I think
Okay.
I was the product of that. I learn really, really well hands-on. And in school, you're sitting there listening to a teacher and they're drawing stuff on the board or you're reading, and that is just not how I learn.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of things in school, like my grades were really bad as a kid. I remember the day we got our report card and I was walking. I looked at the report card and I didn't understand like the A, B, C, D, F concept.
Okay.
And I couldn't read the report card. And I asked there's a crossing guard. She was probably like in 6th grade because the 6th graders got to cross us at the street. And I remember like holding it up and I'm like, can you read this? Like, before I bring this home to my parents, like, is this good or bad? And she was like, oh, it's like, and then now,
Oh
like, my
my
mom,
goodness.
like, saved all that stuff. And, like,
Right.
I look back at it and I was like, yeah, I was like a C, D, F student.
You don't have to be excelling in school in order to be a successful entrepreneur, businessman, businesswoman.
And what I love about you doing this podcast and allowing other people to share their story, I was going to become a business owner. A lot of people didn't believe in me. And I wasn't even sure if I believed in myself that I was intellectual enough to be able to do something like this. I was going to be an esthetician and I was going to work for a corporation forever. I wasn't smart enough to ever have my own business, but what I did have was a mission and I had determination. My family didn't even want me to go to culinary school.
Okay.
They wanted me to be a nurse. It was better job security. And they were like, do you really want to be on your feet all day? Do you really want to be stuffing turkeys?
course.
And I was like, but this what makes me happy.
Right.
And I'm not somebody to sit at a desk all day. Like if there's a common denominator between like cooking and like being a chef and then also being in the spa.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm hands-on and I'm doing things. I'm not at a desk all day.
Mhm.
When I wanted to be an esthetician, they were like, you are not going to make any money doing that. Like we're talking about being a pop star. It wasn't practical. Being an esthetician wasn't practical. You're not going to make good money one day. But I felt so strongly about it. I said, this esthetician changed my life. When you are breaking out and you want to go out in public, if you had a pimple on your face that day and you, as a woman, and you don't feel good about yourself, you're not going to leave the house. It's more than just like clearing your skin. It was like a gift of confidence she gave me. And I wanted to do that for other people when I knew that it could be done. So whether or not I was going to make money doing that, it was about making somebody else happy that I was really going after for my career.
Mhm.
So my grandma took me to go to the office and we filled out all the paperwork. And again, when I started school, it just felt good. But culinary school, when I walked in, I picked that school because of my gut.
Mhm.
And again, maybe there was other programs that didn't teach you about what was in your food, that if I didn't have that, I wouldn't have been able to make that connection.
Right. Yeah.
to get to that next
Makes
point.
sense.
And it took me a while to understand what my teacher said. But how it worked in aesthetic school, we had one large room and all the treatment tables set up on one side and the treatment table set up on the other. And we would have people from the community come in for services. And the teacher would stand in the room and watch all of us do our services. And there was this me and this other girl, Melania, and she would pull me aside and she's like, there is just something about your flow. And I didn't know what that meant. And
Okay.
like the teacher even wrote me like this beautiful card at the end of the program. And like she really thought I was meant to be an esthetician. That is my calling and this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So
That is-
aesthetic school was nothing short of magical. I loved every moment of it.
I believe it, and didn't even feel like school. I
Never.
bet.
Fun every
Yeah.
day.
How long after you finished school did you work somewhere first before opening up your own business, or?
When I was going to aesthetic school, I actually worked in a bakery and I decorated cookies.
Okay.
I had another influential woman there. Her and I were in the kitchen and she'd like ask me a serious question. And it was just her and I. And she was like, you know, Ashley, like you can tell me I won't be angry. And I think because of my childhood and how I grew up with around like so much anger, I think as a kid, if like anything you say or do, like there's always this anger behind it. Like you may be afraid to say what's in your heart or
Right.
do a certain action. And so
Right.
in that moment, even though I was there for a year, that's such a pivotal moment to me that this woman gave me the permission
To speak up.
to speak up and she wouldn't be upset. It felt so uncomfortable, but from that point forward, being like 2021 through the rest of my life, because she gave me that space, I have been always able to come forward as myself and not be fearful of a negative outcome. After aesthetic school, I only worked honestly a handful of jobs in the industry. I worked at a hair salon in Oak Lawn. She was a hairdresser, and that was her niche was hair. She had a room for skincare. I was lucky to get 1 or 2 clients a week.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
It was very slow, but I was excited just to have a job.
Were you working there as a contractor, so to say, or were you employed by her?
I was employed.
So you were getting paid regardless.
Yes.
Okay.
There was this machine called the hydrofacial.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my God, I have to get this done. Like, this is like revolutionary in our industry. And there was only one place that had it.
Okay.
2009, 2010.
Okay.
It was called the red carpet treatment because it was only available to celebrities. And I'm out of school
Interesting.
and I'm like, I have to get this treatment that celebrities are getting. I have to find it. And just somehow, one location, I went to the Orland Park Lifetime Fitness. The Life Spa inside had a hydrofacial. I got it done. I was obsessed with it. When I was in the treatment room back in Oak Lawn and I would have a client, I would just be telling them about this like amazing facial. And like, I can't imagine paying for a facial and then my esthetician's telling me I should go somewhere else to get this other facial that's better. But I would tell everyone about it. And I was like, at one point, a light bulb went off and it said, Ashley, you should just work someplace where you are passionate about the products and the services that they offered. It took a long time. I want to say close to a year where I was applying at every single Lifetime Fitness in my area, hoping to get a job at the spa. And it was the Romeoville location. So again, I'm in Oak Lawn. That's where I grew up.
Okay.
And I got a job in Romeoville. So that's what brought me out to this Plainfield area.
Interesting.
So I got a job there and I was there for 7.5 years up until the pandemic.
When you said a red carpet treatment and you compared it to that's what celebrities are getting, when you were little, you wanted to become a pop star. Do
Oh
you
my
think like that
gosh.
had something
Yeah.
subconsciously
Yeah.
like, you know
That's
what I'm
a
getting
neat. That's very neat that you picked up on that. I'm gonna have to think about that and reflect on that. That's very neat.
Everything we do in our lives, it comes from somewhere. It's not just out of thin air.
Yeah.
I thought it was intentional when you said it.
No.
You never thought of it like that.
Never. I've never once made the correlation. Yeah, that's really neat. This is why I love sitting and talking with people.
Yeah, same.
And I love
Same.
meaningful conversations. Like when we're talking about networking groups, like I hate small talk. Because I feel like when we get to meet our new clients, we're sharing our whole story. When we
Yes.
go to a networking event, that's what we're doing. But when you can sit down with somebody and really have a meaningful conversation, it's so powerful. So
Absolutely.
now that observation that you just made for me, just like all the other reflections, I'm going to sit down and really think about that. That's really neat.
Do you feel like there is a common lesson between all of those jobs before opening your business, obviously?
So back in April, I remember driving in the car and being really proud of myself of how far I've come personally. Even my inner strength of like regulating my emotions, handling yourself under certain levels of stress and pressure and scary situations. And I said that, and I feel like the universe was like, oh, you think you've learned everything. Okay, maybe I'm not as good as I was. And so instead of sitting at home, crying about it, being stressed about it, the morning I woke up and I had my coffee and I said, all the things that happened to you this week, you're going to learn from it. And I sat down and I wrote about it. And I went online to find an old manager and I wanted to write to her. I told you I was shy and timid. And we had this female manager, Diane, and she was scary. She was so strict on making sure all the cans of cat food or dog food the label was perfect. The bags were nice and fluffed and smooth. The floor had to be mopped a very specific way. She taught me customer service skills of like, I know we don't really deal with cash anymore, but like when someone handed you money and you would give them change, you counted in front of them. And I've taught my team this, like you count the cash in front of the customer. And I've had people say like, no one's ever done that. And they appreciate it. I'm like, Diane taught me that.
Transparency.
When I hired Julianne, our coordinator, this was like one of her first real jobs. And like she had to mop the floor. And I remember like thinking back to how Diane taught me. Now I'm utilizing giving it to someone who is the same age.
Wow.
Even having the eye like Diane had walking through the store of making sure everything was positioned perfectly. I have this big chair in our lobby and I'll do the same thing I did with the bags of dog food. I'll take the cushion and I'll like make sure it's smooth.
Interesting.
I'll do that with the pillows. It's like all of the precision she taught me to view from an eye, I have carried into this business. And what she had taught me is so meaningful.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That is something that I feel like every person should do, to reflect, to realize that you've come a long way.
Everyone has had challenges through
Yes.
life on different degrees.
Absolutely.
My mom hustled. She worked hard to take care of her family. And now being an adult, women are still in this female role of caretakers, of cleaning, doing laundry, doing grocery shopping, but then also in the workforce. And like one person can't balance all the things. And I was like, that was literally my mom. We never went on vacations. Like my clients who are taking their kids to Mexico or to see the Great Wall of China, like our vacations were like, we're going to the zoo, we're going to Six Flags, and we're going to Starve Rock. Seeing my mom never give to herself, she died at 46 years old of a heart attack. I feel that every day I walk into the treatment room, even before I opened up my own business, the moment my mom died, now when this woman's in front of me, this isn't just my client. Like, this is someone's mom, this is someone's sister, this is someone's daughter, this is someone's wife. And I love on every single client as if it was my mom. And it's not just about clearing acne, it's not just about looking younger. It's about giving somebody a moment of peace. When I do my self-reflection, if I didn't grow up in that household with that mom and those things that she has done, would I have even chosen this career and been so fulfilled and so happy in my life today?
There is certain practices in business that we don't agree with.
Yes.
In every business, that's
Yeah.
normal. You don't necessarily have to say the business, but you can say what the practices were that were annoying to you, right? That you were like, no, I'm going to do this differently in my business.
Yeah. I worked at a corporation, a spa, corporate spa, working full time. You are told when you can and cannot take a lunch break. You are told when you can and cannot go on vacation. God forbid you want to take a trip at the end of the month, but as a spa, you didn't hit quota. Can't go. We got to hit goal. As a business owner, I understand it because money, positive cash flow is the life and blood of your business. You have to have it.
Right.
They want you in and out with a customer in such a short amount of time that I can't connect with you. I cannot educate you. I don't have enough time to spend looking at your skin and creating a protocol for you to help you. And we had to sell at least 3 products to each person. And if you didn't do that, you could lose your job. So it
Wow.
created a very toxic, out for yourself company culture. This isn't what I want
Wow.
to do.
Yeah, that's bad
So
practice.
I actually volunteered once. It was in February. I volunteered once at Ready Set Ride because I was like, I'm thinking I'm going to leave this industry and I think I want to go work with animals. And then the pandemic hit and the whole world shut down. 6 weeks felt like vacation to me. I never heard once back from my company during the shutdown to even check on me because the spa was located in a gym. There was capacity rates. They're not going to just open the gym for the spa to work. So I had no idea if I was going to have a job. One of my clients was visiting her daughter in California.
Okay.
I trust you with my eyebrows. I trust you with my dog. Can you dog sit for me? So I dog sat for her. I'm not familiar with the area. I'm lost. I'm like driving around. I don't know how to get back to her house. I looped around this area and there was that building that was being completely remodeled. And there was a sign that said Salon Suites coming soon. I snapped a photo of it. This is before I had the revelation of like, this was like my 6-week vacation
Okay.
still. So like I snapped a picture of it. I didn't have the revelation yet that I was going to open up the business, but like something I was like, So
One day, like,
yeah. So
yeah.
I was like, I took a picture of it. I remember when I had the revelation, I'm like going through my gallery. I saw the number and I called and she's like, do you want to come tour the space? And I said, okay, like I'm out this way anyways. Like I walk into the space and it's not done. Like they are just putting the drywall up. Immediately when I walked in, I just saw. I said, my chair is here. This is where my treatment room table is. I'm going to have 2 candles in wall sconces right here along the side of the window. And this is where my sink is going to be. I didn't ever consider being a solo practitioner. I never called around to comp other areas and see what they were charging. I knew it. It felt right. She could have been overcharging me. I didn't know, nor did I care. I just knew this was
Right.
it. You know, people would be like, oh, it's so scary to open a business. But again, like I felt like I had nothing to lose. I was like, I'm going to sign this contract. If I can make more than $550 every 2 weeks, which is like $200 something, I did the math. I'm like, it's, I was like, you know what? I can do this. And I signed it for 3 years. And my dear aunt, I know she's going to watch this. She's been a huge supporter and is why I am the way that I am. But for her and her age, she was just like, you know what? Like, it's not something that I would do. And
She
I
was more on
respected
reserve
that.
with it because
Yeah. Yeah.
job security.
I have a business coach. And she used to have all these free trainings, and I watched them at the corporation. And I did all the things that I could do that she coached on building a business. I was the top performing esthetician, and I would go head to head with this hairdresser, and we would be like neck and neck of who was bringing in the most revenue into the spa. So
Okay.
I knew what she was teaching was working. I felt so much authenticity from her. And she was a solo esthetician who was still working in the room, who was so passionate. So going back to people saying you can't make a career, you're never going to have
Right.
financial success being an esthetician. She was like, yes, you can. I am living proof of it. And this is how I did it. And all of her free trainings work. So when I did my business, I was like, I'm going to do this with her by my side. And she was the person to believe in me. So then now I have another woman that has been influential in my life and has made a difference. So risky to open a business during the pandemic because you're told like you have to be 6 feet from people. You have to wear a face mask. Like how do you do a facial when someone has to wear a face mask? But the beauty of it, when Pritzker opened up, everybody needed it done. And there were businesses that unfortunately had to close down. And I feel like I had an upper advantage being solo than with everybody else.
Right.
So my business grew. I had a 3-month wait list less than that first year.
Wow.
I never wanted a team because I saw like the experience of the corporate culture and I said, I don't want to work in that
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
But then I had a revolution that like I'm the owner, I get to set the culture and I get to set the standards. What sabotages a business owner from growth is thinking no one could do it like you. But I met Taylor, my first esthetician. I hired her And it has been such a rewarding job as I grew the team and I can't be in the treatment room as much because I have to work on the business. I loved what it was like just being an esthetician before doing the business because it's so much responsibility. It's like not only are my clients depending on me, but my team is depending on
Right.
me. And how I run the business and the success of it is like, do they make enough money to go home to their families?
Was your mom still alive when you opened up the business?
No. When I walked into my salon suite, when I opened the door, there was this one wall. And I
Okay.
said, every day when I walk in, I want to be reminded of my mom. And I want to be reminded of my mission. My name is Ashley Michelle Thacker.
Okay.
And it was just going to be called, because my last name could change at any, if I marry. So I was like, well, just going to keep it A&M Esthetics. I was going to do Ashley Michelle Aesthetics.
Okay.
I found on Etsy like a logo designer and I said, I want to do A&M Aesthetics, but I wanted it to be in my mom's handwriting. That's where I was going to bring the essence of her in. So my mom, in that photo album I told you about that I have, if we're to look through the memories, she wrote on the back of all the photos, right? Like who was in the photo,
Oh, interesting.
the age you were, the year that it happened. It was never in cursive. Only when our baby shower photos, when she was pregnant with me. I think she titled it like after she had me, because on the back of every single one, it said Ashley and mine baby shower. So I gave it to the gentleman on Etsy and I said, this is the cursive that I want. This is my business name. But he had changed it to A&M Aesthetics. The beauty of it is like it's Ashley and mine. That's what it stands for. Because it was never just like my space. I've developed the business based on my clients' needs, and it's like not my space, but it's their space. And now that I have evolved with a team, it's not just like my space, it's not just my client's space, but it's like it's my team's space too.
What does this moment mean to you personally?
I love having Taylor and Michelle, Cassie, Sandra, Julianne, Ashley in my business. And I'm like, when we get older and we talk about the good old days, I'm like, I am living in the good old days.
You obviously want to grow the business more like this. You're not just stopping here.
Company culture is so important, and what we have is so special. Like the group that I have, that I'm very particular about who I bring into that space, that I think if we grew too fast, too quickly, or even grew too much to a point, I would lose what is special about my business.
Interesting.
So I'm not sure about that growth. Like when I hear them like laughing in the room next door with their client, I'm not like, they're being loud. I'm like, oh my God, they're having fun. They're like connecting, and my heart like blows up.
You could put a manager there, right? Like you don't have to be necessarily like you could be running your own errands. You could be out and about.
Yeah, so
but it's
like
like you're detaching yourself from the business.
I'm really lucky with the team that I have. Like in my coaching programs, and people have teams and I hear about the problems, I'm like, oh my God, that like isn't me. My team is smart and they like just do what needs to be done and they just know to do it.
This is it goes to like the process of vetoing people for your business, right? How did you get to that team? Like there must have been a process.
Actually, I went on Indeed, which is actually very expensive for small business owners. You have to pay like per resume.
Okay.
And it's like, again, when you're just starting out on your solo and you have no money, I think it's like $75 a resume. And I'm
Okay.
like, and obviously the one person you're interviewing like isn't going to be it. Like you need multiple. Taylor and I books got swamped and I started running into the same problem where people couldn't get in. And I said, okay, like I want to hire another esthetician, but there's like this motto in business where it's like hire slow, fire fast.
Okay.
And so I'm very slow with the hiring process, where at the
Okay.
corporation, when they needed to hire, they would hire like very interesting people that weren't fit for the job.
Mm-hmm.
And so with me, it's very different. So Michelle, I love our story. I am giving my all to my acne client, Ian. And the whole entire time, he is pitching his wife to me. She's an esthetician. She's really amazing. I'm thinking, like, I'm supposed to be here, like, clearing her skin. And he's pitching his wife to me. And I joke, like, Ian is honestly, like, Michelle's #1 fan. When I hire someone, I always have them do a practical on me, like, on me. I have to feel their touch. I need to get a facial from them. And I also have to get a Brazilian wax from them. And
Okay.
like, I can watch somebody do a technique,
Right.
but it's different
It's
to
not
know
the
what it
same,
feels
right.
like. Like, what is her technique like? Am I in pain? I get so many phone calls every week asking if I'm hiring estheticians, and I get a lot of girls who drop off resume. So I have a collection. So when I'm going to look for somebody now, I don't need Indeed. I have like
You have your own
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah, I have my own Indeed. I'm not going to hire staff until we're 80% booked. So then, like, when Taylor got like, Taylor was over 80, but she got 80% booked, I hired Michelle. Michelle got 80% booked, I'm hiring Cassie. Cassie gets 80% booked, but I'm telling you, something in me was like pushing me and said, you need to hire someone and you need to do it now. I interviewed a bunch of girls and I'm like, this isn't it, this isn't it, this isn't it. And again, very similar to Taylor in seeing my salon suite for the first time. I didn't talk to Sandra. We didn't even say hello and shake hands. She came in front of me like we are, and immediately it said, she's it. We did the practical. She was not experienced in Brazilians, but her facial technique, I knew she had a gift. And I hired her in February and I've been working with her. We couldn't sustain our laundry load. So Julianne's in high school and she comes in and she's like our chaos coordinator. She'll like keep the spa clean, greet the clients. She'll do all of our laundry for us. And then my massage therapist, I'll try to keep this brief because her and I used to work at that corporate spa together. And she left for all the same reasons that I did. She had a baby and the owner of the place she was at was not understanding to some of the things they should be with a new parent.
Okay.
And because Laura, her and I were at the Salon Suite building together.
Okay.
So I know Laura.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Laura was looking to hire a massage. Somehow, like, she was in her interviewing process, like divine timing, and Ashley just wasn't a fit for her business and what she needed.
Okay.
And she's like, hey, Ashley, why don't you go to Ashley? And she's like, well, that's so weird because I already know her. And that's how she's on my team.
Everything was meant to be, pretty much.
I'm telling you, like, I really do feel like this is my mission. And the universe, God, whoever you believe in, is going to bring the people and the things to you. But you have to be open to seeing it and receiving those messages.
Where can people find you? Where do you have social
Downtown
media?
Plainfield.
Yeah, sure. Your address on social media's website.
Yeah, so we're located in downtown Plainfield, right next to Crema Coffee House. We are by appointment only. We do not have a receptionist at the front desk. We have a keypad where you need a code to get in. Please make an appointment before you come in. You can find us on social media, the same thing, A&M Esthetics.
What kind of advice would you give somebody that wants to start their own business in aesthetics?
I have a motto that ignorance is bliss. If you told me how much hard work and time it was going to take at the very beginning when I did this, I don't know if I would have done it.
Part one of my next question.
Mm-hmm.
If your young self were to enter the room,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of advice would you give her?
I started this when I was 13. I have no idea why. Every year on my birthday, I would write a letter to my future self.
Wow.
And I
okay.
have like this green Tupperware box that I've like kept my letters in. Hope in a year from now, like you have this that you want, or you're with this, or you've like
Wow.
maybe like let's just say I want to go to Europe and I hope that you achieve all this, and I'll like say nice things about myself. But if I had to sit down now and talk to my younger self, I would tell her that you were smart. The household I grew up in, we never hugged each other. We never told each other that we loved each other. Not even my mom with the relationship I had, but you feel someone's love. And I know my mom always loved me, but like words of affirmation, of proudness were never a thing. And so I would tell her, like, I know you feel stupid, and I know you don't feel smart, and I know everybody is making fun of you. But don't change being the kind, loving person you are and be anybody else but yourself, because you're going to grow up and you're going to make a difference in so many people's lives just being who you are.
On an emotional level, that's where all the strength comes from too.
Yeah. One thing that the business has gifted me is so much confidence and reassurance, and someone who came from a background of like being so shy and so intimidated and not being able to feel like she can have the freedom of speech until it came to my business, where from the moment you walk in to everything you see to the service, just the energy of the space, even with the team, because I created that, it's been the first freedom of expression I've ever had.
If your mom were still alive,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think she would have told you? Like, seeing where you are now.
I remember when she would be on the phone with her friends, I would hear her on the phone, like bragging about me and like really low key, like, you're proud that your daughter is like going to school and like going to go to college and finish. And when I graduated from culinary school, like at the time I was kind of hurt about it because my mom wasn't there to see me graduate because my mom didn't show emotion. She was like probably in the car bawling her eyes out and didn't want anyone else to see her cry. I think that she would be so proud that even though she never finished college and she didn't have a lot of things to give to us, that somehow her daughter ended up doing this with her life.
Well, I would love to close the show with these remarks.
Yes.
It was a pleasure. I mean, beyond a pleasure talking
Yeah,
to
thank
you.
you. I love it. I told you I'm
This-
not a fan of small talk. I love meaningful conversations, and this was definitely one of them.
I am so glad you enjoyed yourself. I definitely did. If Ashley's story inspired you in any way too, subscribe, share it with somebody to inspire their day, and I will see everyone in the next episode.